Ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar, popping my collar, popping my collar. Ever since I can remember, I've been working these. Then they better put my money in my hand, ever since I can remember.
You know, a lot of people may not understand that you and your brother are both UFC fighters. What's that like, being part of a family where you have two UFC fighters?
I think it's also unique, you know. I mean, there's a couple of brothers in the UFC there. You know, the Diaz brothers, Miller.
Yeah.
One of the Millers too in the UFC. But anyways, I think it's cool. You know what I mean? It's a lot, you know, especially on the mother.
Yeah.
Or mom, you know. I mean, she has to deal with like two fighters. We have an up and coming, which is my twin brother Fred. He's an up and comer, and he's also injured, unfortunately. But it's a little rough, you know, as far as the family side of it. But as far as the training, it's fun, you know. I mean, we're most of the time training up together. We develop together, and we still improve together. So it's unique too.
Yeah. So I know Junior is the older brother, and actually got to train with Junior a long time ago. Great personality, great guy. Any funny stories when you were coming up being the little brother training with Junior?
Yeah, stories too many to mention right now. Too many. But as far as in jiu-jitsu, he got me into jiu-jitsu with Jacare in Atlanta. So when I started, I pretty much I loved it right off the bat. I started training really hard, and I remember at one point he's like Junior's always moving around. So I think he went back to Brazil for a while, and I stayed. And then he found another job doing with, you know, he turned pro as far as him. He turned professional, started working for a different company, and I remained training there. Um, and it was funny because we were like together all the time. We were like we work like we used to work in the company like part time, and then we go to jiu-jitsu every night. So and it's too many funny stories to mention, but his personality on the mat was just funny. You know, Jacare went nuts sometimes with Junior. I just remember like from asking for belts. You know, one time I think he got punished like another year because he's got 3 years in front of me, and I almost got my purple belt right at the same time that he's got. So when I came in, he was already a blue belt. He was a champion blue belt already. He was about to get his purple belt. You would ask for his belt, and Jacare will never give it to him. Okay, Junior, all right, you never give his belt. And I almost I got my purple belt like 3 months before him. And he's getting through 3 years because I got my blue belt pretty quick, and then I won all the tournaments as blue belt. So I was almost ready for my purple belt. And Junior was there 3 years before I.
Yeah.
So just that was pretty funny at the beginning of jiu-jitsu. He would just drive Jacare kind of.
That is funny.
Kind of insane sometimes.
So speaking of jiu-jitsu, a lot of people don't know that you're a really decorated Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitor before mixed martial arts. Some of the MMA fans don't know that. Yeah. What's the toughest part for you transitioning from sport Brazilian jiu-jitsu to mixed martial arts?
Well, it was a definite transition because I started training when I was like almost a purple belt, and that's when I did my debut. And I started from scratch. So I started training with Coach Manu, which he used to teach at Alliance Training Center back in the days. And with Jacare, he used to be the stand-up coach, and Jacare would run jiu-jitsu. But I started from scratch with Coach Manu. So from the first punch I threw, I learned, you know, from him. So but then I just put the time because it's right there. There's like 2 different mats.
Right.
So I'll finish one class, go to the other.
Right.
And then in the mornings I'll do the opposite. I'll do Muay Thai and then go to jiu-jitsu. So it was like full time for me. Since I left school, I kind of left my job. When I left school, I was like, okay, so you left school, so you got to get a job. So I found a job. And then when I found jiu-jitsu, I left both. So I quit school and my job that I had gotten after school, and I started training full time. So it was a good transition. It was challenging. I was young. It was real challenging because I had to learn how to kickbox and everything. It was awesome. You know, I had great experiences in like jiu-jitsu tournaments also. Pan Ams and all those, Arnold's and Just southeast. I won all the southeast tournaments. It was fun.
So what advice would you have, speaking of that, what advice would you have for somebody today, a kid today who's coming up, who wants to be a UFC fighter like you one day?
Man, I think training is key, you know. I think training, the physical aspect is key. Just because it's so intense, it's an intense sport, you know, like football. You gotta put the time in. And mindset is really important. Also, you know, you can't be a stupid ass and get in the cage. It's not gonna go. You're not gonna go further.
Right.
Just because it requires more than that. It's not just getting out there and just bar fighting. And also, it's not just like a written sport either. It's like a chess game. You have to put like the physical and the mental together and work really hard.
Yeah. Speaking of that, your last fight with Mike Easton, top 10 battle in the 135 division, you displayed some cultured striking. You displayed the best striking that I've seen from you in your professional fights.
Somewhat.
Yeah, but it was very effective. What's your favorite part of training now? Do you still like training with the gi? Do you still like training, grappling, and do you like striking training better?
I think I train all. I mean, I think I'm putting a little bit more emphasis on my stand-up, just because I think it's, even though a lot of people, I don't brag, but a lot of people are like, okay, you're talented, you stand up, but I feel that I have to work a little bit harder. Just because, I don't know, my body type, I'm kind of short, and so I'm always having to make adjustments. So that pushes me as far as, because I'm always critical to myself also, as far as the technique goes. But I put a little more emphasis on my stand-up right now, just because, not that I don't put the jiu-jitsu time, and also a lot of wrestling right now. We've got an Olympic high-level guy here with us every day, so I try to take a lot of advantage. I am taking a lot of advantage of having that type of athlete here in the house with us, and just keep training and improving on even my stand up. Even though I had a good fight, I think I did enough. I did okay to protect myself and be effective. But I'm always putting more time on my stand up.
Okay. Speaking of which, you mentioned some of the guys. Give a shout out to some of the guys that you're training with now. Where you're training now, some of the guys that are helping you out, maybe some up and comers.
We got so many talents here in the house. It's great. I mean, Brian Stan's been a motivator for the last 2 years for me, and I respect him a lot, just because. Man, I've had the Brazilian press, hey, what's your with Brian Stan deal? I don't care if it's, it doesn't matter if he's from Japan. The guy is a motivator. The guy, it's like a brother to me. He encourages me. Man, what are you doing? And everybody knows he's like a leader. And everybody Raymond came. He moved from Missouri to be here with us full time. And Jucount, he runs ATT Atlanta here, and he's here with us. Rodrigo also came to the boat to be part of this journey. Rodrigo Artilero, and then my brothers, training partners, Douglas Lima brothers, everybody. Even with Junior comes here sometimes. So it's a lot of guys in the house right now. I mean, a lot of amateurs coming up, a lot of guys putting the time, So I'm happy everybody's getting together.
Awesome. So what's one thing that people don't know about you that you want them to know?
I mean, I'm kind of like a little. I'm not a weirdo, but my personality is different. I can talk. I'm easy to talk to. A lot of times I'm holding back also, just as far as when I'm traveling and competing and stuff. I'm social in a way, but I'm kind of preserved in another. But I'm me. I try to be pretty. I try to be pretty normal. I mean, I think I'm a normal guy. I'm trying to be pretty genuine as far as dealing with different people and I work with the UFC, is the biggest organization in the world, and I'm going for them. They respect me. I respect them a lot for the job.
And then where do? What's up, man?
This is Jucao.
Hey, Jucao. So where do you see yourself going from here? We just talked about that fight. You had a top 10 fight. You looked great. Where do you see yourself going from here?
Oh, I mean, I'm ready to. I mean, the only thing in my mind right now is healing up. You know, I know I've got different things. You know, I've got to start like talking to people. You know, eventually I want to find like some sponsors. You know, just when it's time. You know, I think it's gonna happen. But right now I'm just trying to heal. I want to heal up and get back active as far as training. You know, as far as getting out there. You know, and then the next fight. Who knows? You know, I think there's a couple guys out there in the same winning streak as far as the 135 goes. I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to heal, man. I mean, I don't have like an opponent set just because it's gonna. So many things are gonna flow right now that I'm injured, and guys are gonna be competing. So right now, I'm just concentrating on healing.
Okay.
Right now.
So I want to ask you just a couple more questions. One is, when you look at the MMA game now, a lot of people talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu not being as effective as it was before. You know, what do you say to that? Do you agree with that? What do you say to that? You know, how effective do you think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is?
To a point, you know, it has to be a lot of adjustments has to be made, like as far as the jiu-jitsu. Just because when I started training, it was the ground and pound already, so we learn a little differently. It's not like the basic guard game, holding down, and also it became a sport, so it's not like a survival type of jiu-jitsu anymore. It's more of a sport jiu-jitsu. So I think it needs to be needs to have a lot of adjustments. You know what I mean? And those are techniques that you can adjust. You know what I mean? A lot of the champions, they're very good on their back. Obviously, not the best position to be in, but I think a lot of adjustments has to be made as far as the jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Way back in the day.
Okay, cool. Man, any last words you have for fans out there, people that are just getting to know Raphael Assuncao?
Man, you know, just keep your eyes open, keep your ears. You know, like I say, I'm excited. You know, I have fun in training now. It's I think I'm becoming more mature as far as my personal life, as far as the game goes. So I feel great. You know, just you guys will hear from me pretty soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Raphael.
Thanks, man.
Ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar, popping my collar, popping my collar. Ever since I can remember, I've been working these, then they better.